I kinda wanted to have some sort of tier list talk with you all, because I think the way the game is right now, it's been released for about a month in China, and we've had like 4 regional tournaments there, so 500 players plus tournaments. And I think people are too eager to make power rankings. So what I kind of want to do today to start the stream is ranking Riftbound Legends by potential and not necessarily by actual power, because I don't think we can already rank power. Deck lists still need to be found, combos still need to be found and broken. So I want to discuss potential, what I think leaders can do, and how I think they will evolve in the metagame. Obviously, the way they are ranked in the current metagame will be some part of the reflection, but it's not everything there is to it, and there are still a lot of things to be found and meant to upgrade some decks power level. Kai'Sa S tier, she won 3 regional out of 4, nothing to stay. Okay, so let's start with Kai'Sa. Really interesting discussion actually. How do I think Kai'Sa places as of now in the metagame, and how will she perform in the upcoming events, in my opinion? I think Kai'Sa is between S and A. So like absolute best, let's say, absolute best, very good, decent, not good, trash. Let's do something like that, okay? So absolute best is like, if you don't pick this leader and you want to win, I think you're trolling. Very good is like, you can probably pick this leader and do something very good with it, this legend. Decent is like, can maybe do something, not that good though. No good is like, you should probably not pick this leader. And trash is like barely playable, okay? And I think Kai'Sa is between very good and absolute best. Most people will probably say it's absolute best, no discussion, it's the best deck in the format, and the good player on the good Kai'Sa deck list will win the tournament. I kinda disagree. Why I think Kai'Sa is good in the first place is because she is one of the decks that is able, as a Sett 1 deck, so limited pool of cards, not everyone has all the options they want to have, and she's one of the few decks that is able to say, okay, I have a sufficient number of copies of a similar card to be able to see them every game, and that's blasts. So if we go to the deck builder, we go to Kai'Sa, and we go to the main deck, we have like 9 to maybe like 12, 15 cards that are able to deal damage directly without using a unit. There's X-Tech Ray, so that's 3. There's Falling Star, which is like kind of broken, of course, that's 6. Then there's Void Seeker, that's 9 at least. Then we have Kai'Sa's signature spell, which is Ikchen Rain, which like most people play 1 or 0 in the main deck and 1 or 2 in the side deck. But you can potentially go to like 1 or 2 copies in the main deck. I think this card is like really strong. And then you also can play Singularity. So you can go from like 10, 11 to 15 copies of basically the same card, and that's what makes it really strong, because she's able to do something consistently in a format where decks kinda struggle to be consistent and have the same strategies every time. So I think that's the first thing with Kai'Sa, which makes it like a good deck. Let's not say an absolute best deck, but like a very good deck at the very least in this format. She's more stable than the other. Second thing, and I know people would disagree with this take, but second thing, Kai'Sa is kinda easy to play. Like, if you have a decent opening, it's not so hard to play, and maybe the mirror match is a bit more technical, but like Kai'Sa is not hard to play. Enemy plays a unit, you blast it. You use a card that deals damage to it, you blast it. Okay, then enemy plays like 2 units, you go Falling Star, you blast them, they die. Not many counterplay from the opponent. and not many skill required to recognize the pattern that they have one unit eye blasted, they have 2 units eye blasted with Falling Star, and so on and so on. Obviously, there are a bit of interactions that can like stop you from doing that, but yeah, Kai'Sa is not that hard to play. So these 2 factors combined, stable and not that hard to play, make it a really good pick in early on in the game, because you don't have to have that many games, and if you're a good TCG player with good fundamentals, you are sure that you will have the tools to win basically every game, or at least have a shot. Why I think Kai'Sa could be not so good is another reason, but basically it's linked. It's because when you're really good at doing something, you will naturally like build your deck to do this regularly. Blasting, deal 3, deal 4, draw 1, deal 12. You will try to add these cards together to have them on every turn and like make them even more powerful. Because like, let's say your opponent has 3 units in hand. He plays 1, you blast it, then he plays 2, and you don't have spells to blast it. Well, your first blast is good, but it's not game breaker. Your opponent can still play with the 2 units he played later on, right? If you have 2 blasts or even more in hand, it's very different, and the blasts become even stronger, because he plays a unit, you blast it, then he plays 2 units, you blast them both, and then he has no unit and he's stuck drawing and digging through his deck to see another one. And that's what's really strong. For those who knew me for Yu-Gi-Oh!, it's kind of like entraps, you know? The more entraps you have, the more powerful your entraps get, because they stack together and they make each other stronger. It's the same for Blast. The problem is, if you want to play a lot of Blast, then you're kinda facing issues against lists that are built to beat Blast, sorry. And we've seen it become like true every regional a bit more, with like Master Yi, first of all, not always playing Kiana. Then we started seeing Dead Bloom Predator, also a deflect card. We started seeing Zonia, which is a card that allows your unit to survive through Blast. We started seeing this card being played, Unyielding Spirit, which allows you to not take any ability damage this turn. And all these things together, also Sabotage, which is a very good card to prevent the blasts from happening by discarding them beforehand. All these cards being put together are like very hard to counter for Kai'Sa, or like maybe even impossible, because if she wants to play counters to this, then she will have to take some cards out of her deck to make it less stable, less consistent, to counter these strategies, and then when facing a more normal matchup, she will have a tough time. So that's the first thing. The second thing is basically one card, and this card is Dazzling Aurora. So Kai'Sa plays a combination of colors, which is red and blue, which does not have any good gear removal. The only gear removal she has access to is Thermo Beam, which is a 5 cost, 2 power burn card that kills all gear. It's not a good card. It's way too expensive to be good. You basically skip a turn to clear an Aurora that already activated its effect, and the opponent can very well have another Aurora to play, because Yi is able to dig his deck very deep, MF is able to dig her deck very deep. So this card is not good. If you have to include this card in your sideboard, not only does it take 3 spots, but it's 3 spots for a bad card that will probably not even 100% win you the matchup. Which is why I think Kai'Sa will have, or has already, a tough time fighting against Aurora. This card is very popular right now, especially because it counters Kai'Sa so well. And of course, there are counters to the counter. You can beat Aurora, but it's very difficult for Kai'Sa, and that's why I think Kai'Sa is not the absolute best at all, despite winning 3 regionals in China out of the 4 that happened. So there was 4 regionals in 4 weekends, and Kai'Sa basically won the 3rd one. And when the 4th one happened last weekend, people had started to build against Kai'Sa, understand her weaknesses and the way to play through her game plan. and she lost. And not only did she lose, but she had a terrible conversion rate compared to the other regional. So yeah, I don't think Kai'Sa is like broken at all. I think it's just a consistent deck that is rather easy to play and that was appealing in the beginning of the game, which is completely normal. If you take any TCG in the world, the easiest strong statistics deck always do well at the beginning. That's normal. People spend time trying to learn the mechanics of the game and not like digging into deck building. So it's normal that easier consistent deck win it all at the start of the game. So I do think Kai'Sa is very good and not like absolutely broken tier 0 deck. Alright. Now, the other contender which might be there in terms of absolute best deck is Yi. I think Master Yi is probably as of now the deck with the most tools and also the most ways to be built. I'm not too fond of the current version, which is let me show you a list. Basically, Master Yi is toolbox, draw power, ramp, draw power, toolbox, draw and ramp, toolbox, ramp, and big bodies and Aurora. Right? So game plan is very simple. Dig the deck, find Aurora, play Aurora, protect it with the toolbox, being win wall, defy, and have your units do what they do best, which is have big stats, big bodies, and stomp your opponent. So I think, as of now, Yi is one of the decks with the most toolbox available to him. I kinda dislike this list because, okay, there is a lot of draw power, there is a lot of consistency tools, there is a lot of utility and toolboxes, but the big problem is if you don't see Aurora, I think this list is not good enough to bring you to win. So you can win games without Aurora, but not consistently. And if your opponent plays a counter to Aurora, I think you're in a really tough spot because they will be able to remove your main strategy piece and you won't be able to do much about it. Now, what I think made this deck win the last regional is because Aurora was not a card that was like really played. The week before, the Yi list already played ramp cards like Find Your Center, but they played them in a late game build without Aurora. Most of the time it was like Dead Bloom, White Flame, the champion, and some early game unit. If they play Aurora and there is knowledge about the fact that they do play Aurora, there is an easy way to counter Aurora because like most colors have a way to break gears. Yes, so Yi won probably because Aurora was not expected, at least this Yi build. The thing with Yi is with the combination of colors he probably has access to the best toolboxes in the game, which are buffs such as Hangward and Discipline, which are damage control with Unyielding Spirit, Defy to counterblast, with Discipline, of course, which is right there to also buff your characters so they don't die. And basically, I think like a mid-range Yi list is very capable of outlasting Kai'Sa and having extra bodies, and also Zhonya. I forgot to talk about Zhonya, but of course Zhonya is a very good card in Kai'Sa. You are very capable of having enough cards to have them spend all their blasts and you still have bodies left. So yeah, I think Yi has a very good toolbox. I've not talked about his legend effect yet. It's very strong, of course. Giving your units +2 when they're defending is kinda good. Why do I put him as the best deck above Kai'Sa is because he has more options in the build, but there's something I want to mention. Master Yi's deck building is kinda like this, in a way that every single card you play in the deck has to fit with your leader ability. It's not a leader ability that's very flexible. It's not something that you can try to like play around. You just have to warp your entire deck around the fact that you will only have one unit at a battlefield at a time, except in like very late game situations with Aurora. You can play like 2/8 might units, and then it's like not that important to have like +2 because you already have like 16 or like something like that. So yeah, but most of the time you will have to warp your whole deck building towards its passive, and that's why I shape it like that. It's because at the end of the day you will be limited by what your legend does. All right. So I'd say that is the way Yi is supposed to deck build. On the other end, I do think that some legends, such as Kai'Sa, such as Ahri, such as Yasuo too, built the other way around, which is, okay, so my legend does this, insert legend ability, of course, and then starting from this point, I can build this way, because the effect is not too harsh and allows me to build in a lot of different ways, have a lot of different options, surprise my opponent. So I do think that deck building with Yi will at some point be limited by the legend, and maybe when we have like way more cards like set 3, set 4, Yi will start to become way less popular because it's kind of narrow in the way you have to build it, and the options that will be released in the upcoming set will make other legends stronger in their ability to do different things, and that will be detrimental to Yi. So I do think that Yi is good as of now, but will not be tier 0 like forever and stomping the competition forever, even though it's like very good now. The third legend I want to talk about might be a bit more surprising for you guys, but I do think that Ahri is a very good legend. I think Ahri is really strong because she does have a lot of options, such as Yi. Because green, first of all, I think is an insane, amazing color, with counter spells, with buffs, with strong gear removal, strong units such as the shield Poro. It's a very good color. In like any aspect of the color, it's very good. Her effect, as a reminder, is when opponent unit attack a battlefield you control, they get -1, so -1 might, which I think is good, but not like very insane. And her best effect that's printed on the card is you are able to play green and blue card. I'll show you one of my lists, which is kind of secret as of now, but has had like tremendous results in testing. I think it's at least 50-50 against the top decks and like destroys the other decks. It just requires you to be, I think, very good at the game, which I'm not as of now. I'm like good, but not like amazingly good. This is the kind of list I've been playing. There have been a few changes. Mundo went to the sideboards. Whole concept of this list is to play as many interaction as you can, to skill check your opponent on almost every card you play, to have a lot of draw power, a lot of toolbox, never run out of cards, and just be able to outplay your opponents in the long run. So yeah, this list is one of the drafts I've been playing. It's really good. If you loved playing Entrapped deck in like Yu-Gi-Oh, you should give it a try. It's very interesting. You can dig very deep for your toolboxes, but it's also very not easy to play because it's very like you get hardly punished by mistakes. You don't have that many units in the deck. You only have like these guys, then the Sprite Mother, also the Sprite Core, which is kind of a pseudo unit, but like not a real unit. So if you misplay, if you lose a bit of tempo, if you lose a unit for like no reason that you could have saved or protected, you might very well lose the game from that point. What's really important in an Ahri build, I think as of now, is the fact that you outmight your opponent, which might not seem easy against Yi, but like you have so many cards to buff/debuff. So obviously you have this effect, which allows you to gain a might, and the way you have to build your deck to interact around this, to warp your deck building around this, I think, at least, is like any card that gives you card advantage and extra might is what you need in the deck. So this one is +1 might, so it's neg1, -1 for the opponents, but it's very good and it draws. This one is +2, this one is -2 for the opponent, which, by the way, this card is utterly broken. It's one of the best cards in the deck, and people don't play it for, like, I don't know, whatever reason. I think it's even one of the best cards in the game right now, but yeah, it's very good. This one is +2, this one is -4, this one goes +2 in stats. And then this one is kinda +3 since you spawn sprite, so you're playing a 4/6. So basically you want cards that outmight their value, and that's also why Mundo is here for the Kai'Sa matchup. And you want to also this one is +1 by that. And you want to have them, and this one can get plus regarding the spells you play. And then you want a lot of draw power, which is why I'm playing 3 draw power battlefields with discard 1, draw 1. When you all draw 1, and when you target a unit here with a spell, friendly unit here with a spell, you get to draw an extra card. And most of the time, the deck has like 5, 6, 7 cards in hand, and just permanently outplays your opponent. You force them to commit plays, and then either you beat them down by using these cards, or you just lure them in and then you go retreat or charm to punish them, or singularity even. A lot of toolbox, a lot of draw power, very interesting deck. You should probably try it if you like interaction. And I think it's really strong, really strong in the current metagame. So yeah, Ahri I think is very good, not because legend effect, but because green-blue is very strong combo. That being said, I think these guys, as of now, might be the 3 top tier decks that we should see. So these 2 are the obvious top tiers, and this one is my personal pick, which I think is really strong, but you will need a very good player to play it, so I would not be surprised to see it not topping any event until like in a month or 2. But I think when people are like used to the list, it will become very good. On another end, let's go with the Aurora decks. So, as I've mentioned before, I don't consider it a mono Aurora deck. I think there's other alternative builds that you can play. You still can play Aurora too. But Aurora only decks are these guys which don't get any play rate if they don't play Aurora. When I mean, Volibear does not always play Aurora, but it's kind of trash anyways, so you might as well play Aurora. MF is decent. I think it struggles against aggressive decks. Ahri can be aggressive, Viktor can be aggressive, but it has a very good matchup into Kai'Sa. So it has seen success since the field was like populated by Kai'Sa to an extent. But yeah, as of now, I don't think MF will be that good. I think if you want to play Aurora, he also has very good pros, and other than that, MF is not playable without Aurora, so I don't think you should be playing this deck if you don't want to play Aurora. And I think if you want to play Aurora, you should consider it too. Volibear though is not good. It's just too slow, way too slow in the metagame. It takes time to set up. It needs a lot of cards in hand to combo together to get where it wants to get. And even though it can sometimes get where it wants to get, it is like kinda easily outplayed because both of his colors are just like might, stats, and not so much of anything else. Jinx, let's take them one by one as of now because there is no clear power ranking. I think Jinx is not good as of now. One of the main issues I have with Jinx is an issue that I generally have with purple, which, like, sorry purple guys out there, Chaos Rune guys out there, and girls, of course. I think currently purple is shit. It does not have very strong options, does not have very strong cards. Purple mechanics are meant to cheat cards in a way, allow you to do something that should not be possible to do by the rules. But as of now, it's too weak. It's way too weak. Purple's not good as of now. So basically Jinx becomes a red deck because purple is not good. But what happens when one of the best decks in the format is a red deck that fully utilizes the ways that red has to control the board and like the best cards in red, in Kaisa? Then you don't have like any interest. Jinx Legends effect is not good. Drawing one when you have one or less card in hand at the beginning of the turn, as of now, is not good. You tend to turn into an hyper aggro deck that plays a lot of accelerates, but Jinx signature spells is a control spell, so it does not help your strategy. And well, I do think Jinx is not good as of now. Maybe later on, if purple gets good card, then maybe Jinx can be good. But as of now, it's like Kaisa, but not good. Then comes Darius, and I think Darius is decent, borderline not good. Darius suffers from the same thing as Jinx in terms of metagame. It's like aggro decks are not good, like not very good. Darius must be an aggro deck the way it's built. His Legends ability forces you to play basically 2 cards every turn. Obviously you don't need to, but if you want to make full use of it, you have to. It's decent. Maybe it's decent. I'm tough. Going not good. No, I think just as I put Ahri in very good, Darius will be my second take in like it's not so good, right? So yeah, it's got 2 different builds. One being a aggro build, which is like red yellow accelerate cards with tokens, and you take on fields and you play very aggressively, trying to end the game really fast. Not that good in the meta game once again. Second build is a hook build. Of course, it won a tournament in the early days of the game, an online tournament, and then people discovered that it was a way in the simulator to bind key to get a specific card in your deck without any way for your opponent to notice. I'm not saying the guy that won the tournament is a cheater, but since then, we've not seen any good performance from Darius too. Many people consider the deck as very skill intensive and very hard to play. So I tried it because it's the kind of deck I tend to like to play. And I think it's not really good. It's like pretty bad. If you don't see hook, you have a lot of cards in your deck that are very bad and force you to use a lot of resources and fall behind in tempo, such as this guy, Spectral Madron, which is you don't want to play this card from your end, you want to play it from the hook. Vayne is kinda cool, but kinda expensive if you don't find it from the hook. Draven is like other dog shit if you don't find it from the hook. So yeah, if the game goes well and everything goes your way and you can just combo through it, then yeah, the deck is good. But most of the time it will not be consistent enough to win a tournament, in my opinion. So yeah. Another thing that you could do with Darius, which I explored a bit but did not find a way to make it work, is control, because because red and yellow are 2 of the best colors at controlling the board with spells. So I think this list is kind of control. Yeah, I tried to experiment something with the Immortal Phoenix, which is a card that brings itself back every time you kill a unit with a spell. So Immortal Phoenix plus spells like Indle Blade, Falling Star, Shakedown. The good thing with Phoenix is that it works with your own unit. So you can basically like play something that generates a token, then hide the Hidden Blade your token, draw 2 cards, bring back Phoenix, and so on and so on. You can kill the Phoenix with the hook to play your 4 drops, which are your best units, such as Kaista and Matron. And then the Phoenix comes back. So it's had some potential. It was getting exhausted too fast in the game. In the games I've played with it though, ended up being like more aggro than control in the games I won. So no, I don't like these builds so much. I don't like this legend so much, and I think as of now Darius is not good. I think Darius is not good as of now. Yeah. Then we do have Listing. I think Listing is cool. He has a problem, which is that he has the same color combo that Master Yi does, and Master Yi is obviously very strong too, so you're kinda compared to your older brother, and you have to beat him at what he does best to have a chance to compete. If you're Lee Sin, that is. I think Lee Sin is decent. There are very interesting Lee Sin possibilities. It's a legion that has not been explored. I mean, as of now, it's not been very represented in tournaments, and I think there's a lot of interesting things to do deck building wise. What you can expect from Lee Sin is a lot of might, a bit of toolbox, and I think its main difference in a good way is being able to accelerate a lot. You have the Lee Sin champion, which is very good. There are a lot of good accelerate cards that you can play in Lee Sin. So obviously the champion, Udyr can be an option. A very good way to bring diversity to your deck building and options to what you can do. Also, there are this card is really strong in Lee Sin. So when you play this card, you can spend a buff to buff me and ready me. So this card becomes a 4/4 no power cost accelerate. It's really good in the format. And the only way to get a reliable buff in the game as of now is Lee Sin, because there are cards that give buff, but you have to draw them. And like decks like Sett, which are heavily buff reliant, struggle to find buff sometimes, so they cannot try to play this card, but Lee Sin can, and it's very good in Lee Sin. You can also play the first mate, which gives you a pseudo accelerate to like restand one of your other characters and then use it to fight instantly. One of the bigger problems for Lee Sin is that having accelerate is good, but it struggles a lot against blasts, and his anti-blast build tend to become Master Yi builds, and Master Yi is just a better legend than Lee Sin as of now. So yeah, that's kind of what makes it underplayed, I think. So yeah, Lee Sin is decent. I think it has options, but as long as Master Yi is so good at what he does, I think Lee Sin will not be. Yasuo, I think is interesting. I think Yasuo is very interesting and very underestimated. I've seen people put it at the very bottom of their tier list next to like Garen, like this. And I strongly disagree. I think Yasuo is very decent, very good legend effect. So for 2 energy, you can basically move one of your characters from or to your base. Very good legend effect. Insane legend effect, actually. Most accelerates in the game cost you 1 energy and 1 power. Basically, Yasuo can give accelerate to any of your characters for 2 energy but no power. So resource-wise, it's like even, not that bad. And if it's not about accelerating, it can also give you an extra buff, which is really strong in the game. This is the legend I've been trying to play at the very beginning of the game. Obviously, it has flaws. As of now, it struggles with Kaisa, it struggles against Blast in general, but it has very good matchups, and I would not be surprised to see Yasuo doing way better than people think, like getting a top or something in the upcoming months of the game, even before the release of Sett 2. Biggest problem for Yasuo is purple, because purple is shit. You guys know it already. I've talked about it already. Purple is not a good color as of now, so it does not give very good tools to Yasuo. Of course, it's a bit better in its usage than other legends, because you can play Kayn, which is a very good legend combined with Yasuo's effects. And there's also another card which combines really well with Kayn and also with the Yasuo champion, which I'll show you just later on, which is Ride the Wind, which is probably one of the best purple cards. This guy, which allows you to move a friendly unit and ready it for only 2 energy. Really good cards. Gives you a lot of ways to play around spells like that target units in the battlefield, to play around green buff or blue debuffs. Like you send a unit to the showdown, then they debuff it, then you just have to play Ride the Wind to basically retreat your unit to your base, and then it does not die and you force your opponent to use card. Yeah, really good cards. And you also have Traveling Merchant, which is very good with Yasuo. When I move discard one, then draw one. So yeah, I think Yasuo is a very strong potential. It might not be dominant in set 1 because of the metagame, because of what's around it, what's being played. It still could top an event, I think. I don't think it's like trash by any means. And I do think that later on in sets 2, 3, 4 maybe, whenever a card that stays when I move, do something will be released, we will have to consider Yasuo because it for sure will become good at some point. I mean, I might be wrong, but I think this legend will be very good at some point in the game. Next is Leona. Yup, Leona is a decent legend. She only suffers from one thing, and that thing is Kai'Sa. Leona has a very unique, at least as of now, mechanic, which is stunning. She's the only legend that's very good at stunning and that benefits from it. Obviously because of her legend effect, which goes whenever you stun an enemy unit, you can buff one of your own units. Very good effect when you play to stun your opponents. Why is it that mechanic that good? I think it's better than MF actually. Why is that mechanic that good? It's because if your opponent is relying on statistics, units might to check you, then they will lose because you will stun them, and what stun does is your opponent's unit don't deal damage for this fight, well, for this turn when they're stunned. So you basically take little to no risks when you're challenging, because if you have mana up to stun someone, then at the very least your units will go back to your base and not die. And if you also have the green Leona, such a good core, so it says if an opponent's score is within 3 points of the victory score, I enter ready. And stun enemy units here have -8 might to a minimum of 1 might. Both of these abilities are so good. Leona is a deck that needs time to set up the board, to control you, and the fact that whenever you get to 5 points, you are under the threat of having a Leona enter ready on the field, fight instantly, and whatever unit is there, if it gets stunned, it's like 0 might, and it will die for sure, is really good, really strong. This card is very good, combines perfectly with the legend effect of Leona, with the way you want to build a deck. So I think Leona is a decent deck that could be very good if Kai'Sa was not there. Because Kai'Sa is very played, has a lot of ways to blast your character, and that is what Leona struggles with. She plays a lot of strong characters that have effects when they fight, when they get to a battlefield, when they are able to collide with enemy units, and Kai'Sa prevents that by killing them in the base. And that's a big problem for Leona, at least as of now. Maybe in the future, decklists will find counters to this. But as of now, Leona is a bit too slow to fight against Kai'Sa. But I think it will be very good in the future. And I really do think this legend, so exactly as Yasuo, is way underestimated as of now. Even though it kinda become an underdog with a few tops here and there in the regionals in China, but it's like still underestimated, and it's really good. Next legend is Teemo. Well, okay, Teemo was the hope of a nation, the hope of a mechanic, which is Eden, and it got destroyed because of an FAQ. So if you've not been playing the game for that long, you might not know about Teemo. Teemo is a very interesting legend that allows you to play a lot of strong hidden cards, and that allows you to get them back to your hands. So instead of paying a power to hide cards, you can pay a mana, an energy. Very strong. Because the downside of hidden cards is that you have to concede tempo to get a strong one-shot play that is supposed to give you this tempo back. But if it fails, it's very painful. You hide a card that does not get used and die, it's terrible for your gameplay. Teemo does not get this risk, because he can just pay energy, and then still gain runes over time and still build massive amount of tempo. So that's the first thing that's very interesting with Teemo. The second thing is that whenever you have a Teemo unit on board or in your champion zone, you could pay a mana to add it back to your hand. And that was insanely good because of a singular card, and that card is Blue Teemo, this guy. So this guy says, or used to say, when I'm defend or I'm played from Eden, you can reveal the top 5 cards of your deck and deal 1 to an enemy unit here for each card with Eden. The way this card was used is it can be used whenever it's played from Eden. So you could hide it, then beginning of your opponent's turn, it plays a card, anything that starts shame. You could flip it, then you look at 5 cards from the top of your deck, you recycle them, no target to deal damage is fine, then your opponent attacks you, and you can once again look at 5 cards from the top of your deck and dig through your deck. So you could basically, in like 3 to 4 turns, know exactly what every card in your deck in any order was, and look for this guy, Nocturne, which says, when you look at cards from the top of your deck and don't draw them and see me, you may play me for a power. And remember what I said about Teemo being extremely good at, he does not need to play power to hide card. So this combo was really broken. We were testing it a lot. We had a really strong deck list. It was one of the best, if not the best legend in the game. But then Riot released an FAQ. And said FAQ said, Teemo does not trigger when it's played from Eden. He only triggers when he defends. So that's one less trigger per turn. So that already makes it way more difficult to cycle through the deck. Second problem. Before, people interpreted the rules as if I can use my effect when there is no target, it means the effect is 2 separate things. So it's look at 5 and then select a unit and deal 5, which was like logical because you could use it with no target. So it's like look at 5, then I can pick a unit and deal 5. The way it works now is you have to flip the cards, use the effect on the target, so only while defending, and you have to pick the unit you want to deal damage to before you flip the 5 cards from the top of your deck. Which is really shit, because before you could go like, okay, I've flipped 3 Edens, you're attacking me with a unit that has 4 might and a unit that has 3 might, I will kill the unit that has 3 might. Now, you have to like target before, so maybe you can target something, let's say attacks you with like 1 token, then 1 unit with 3 might. You target the guy with 3 might, you flip like 1 Eden, and you still have to beat him down, so you just give him -1 might, and then you don't do anything else, while you could have just blasted the token. So the FAQ, the rules update, destroyed the Teemo deck. I think Teemo is barely playable as of now, sadly. We've seen him have success in the first days of the game, but since then he's been becoming way less popular and with terrible conversion rates, one of the worst in the game. It's Teemo still, so people will try to play him and make him work, but I think he has too many flaws as of now to be good. He has purple in his colors, not good color. He does not utilize the blue strategy perfectly. So basically what it's reduced to now is like, I hide cards to gain statistics, and that's about it. And if people play correctly against Teemo and play well around Idens, they know that any Eden card is maximum 4 might, so you have to attack with 4 extra might than what's defending. Then I don't think Teemo has a shot to win any game. But yeah, Teemo I think is trash. Or not good. Yeah, no, it's not worse than Volibear. Actually, Volibear is trash. Is Jinx trash too? Yeah, no, nah. No, I think that's what it's like as of now. Yeah, and Teemo is here, maybe? Yeah, something like that. And maybe Lee Sin is not good. It could be decent, but I think it's not good. Yeah, it should be something like that, rather than what I did before. Viktor. Let's talk about Viktor now. Well, Viktor is at best decent. Viktor, in my opinion, has a problem of being too fair of a deck. The thing with Viktor is the guy has a very interesting color association, but he has like mainly two builds. One of them being Yellow Viktor. And basically what you do is you generate tokens with your legend, you generate tokens with your cards, such as Noxian Drummer. When I move to a battlefield, play 1 recruit token, such as Vanguard Captain. When you play me, play 2 1 recruit token here. And also this guy, which I don't remember the name, which is 2-drop, 2-3 Yeah, this guy, Faithful Manufacturer, which is when you play me, play a 1 recruit token here once again. So you generate a lot of tokens. Then you trade all of your units under the Viktor passive to generate even more tokens. And then you have to play this card, Grand Stratagem, which gives all of your friendly units +5 might this turn. And you can just like smash through the board with like 6 might tokens and basically destroy your opponent. Big problem with this build. It's very linear, very easy to counter, and it's reliant on you drawing the curve. So drawing turn 1 small unit to sacrifice later on with the Viktor ability. Then turn 2 token generator, so this guy, or this guy, whatever. Then being able to play Viktor, and then being able to access the Grand Stratagem. But it's kind of hard to assemble all the pieces together, and if you get too many late game cards, too many stratagems early on, you will probably lose. And if you only get early game cards in the end, you will also lose, because your deck is not able to generate enough power to beat down opponent. So this version is like high ceiling, very low floor, and most of the time being in the middle of that is not enough. You will need to high roll to get to where you want to get and win games. And that's not the way you want to play if you are a good TCG player and you know about like consistency and stuff. And the other build of the core of the legend, which I do think is more interesting at the very least, is Blue Viktor. So this guy, you can kind of play it basically like you would play my Ahri list, which is Blast Cone, which is once again such broken cards, Stupefy, Retreat, Smokescreen, Consu that you can hide to generate a token later on, and all the yellow cards too, so Hidden Blades, and so on and so on. Very good cards during the opponent's turn, sorry. But the big problem with this is that this Viktor is 4-3, which is utter dog shit in the current metagame, because Keista is able to blast at 3 might very, very easily. And so this Viktor will probably not survive for long, and you will not be able to generate a lot of tokens. Another legend that I think is really good is Sett. I do think Sett has ways to beat Master Yi and other decks on a regular basis. It's just way harder to play than Master Yi, and so it makes it a bit less played, and people, most of the time when like trying out something new, people will like play 5-6 games and then they will have their conclusion, and every decision they're going to take moving forward into deck building and trying this legend will be biased by the first conclusion that they get. Not everyone, but like most people do that. And I think when you are a Master Yi player and you try to play Sett, you play 5 games and then you lose probably because it's way harder than Master Yi to pilot. And then you're like, okay, Sett is worse than Master Yi. And since both decks try to do kind of the same thing, you'll be like, okay, so why not just play Master Yi? And even if you go further in trying to play Sett, you will always have this bias of, but when I was playing E, it was better to do this, blah, 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 blah. I don't think so. I think Sett is a very good legend, as ways to build, to beat all of the top tier legends. I think Tempo Sett versus Tempo E, let's not talk about Aurora here, but Tempo Sett versus Tempo E, Sett has a better matchup into Katchouze because of the legend ability. This is insanely good against Blast, because most of the units you can play with Sett that are good get very, very good stat lines against Blast when they are buffed. And it goes for Sett Legend, the Sett Champion, sorry, so the Discord, which is a 5-4, but whenever it's buffed, it's 5-5. And remember, guys, I told you 5 is a very good stat line against Blasts. This guy is 5 might already, so very, very good, very efficient against Blast. And even your lower end units, such as Diana, such as Leona, such as Tiara, such as King Monk, whenever you buff them, they go to 5, and it's very, very strong against Blast. So I think a good Sett player has to be able to manage this way of buffing units and the runes he has to burn for his protection ability to be able to not lose too much tempo, but also have runes to play for the upcoming turns. If you can do that, I think Sett has a really, really good shot into Katchouze. I've played Sett a bit myself against decent E players, or I'd say good E players, and at least in what I consider the global level of players I've played against. And this guy against E is utterly broken. You can just use this guy to go to 8 might, then you will basically be able to beat everything that he can play. And that's like what other decks can do, right? They cannot go head on onto a Poro that's like 5 might. Well, you can, and you beat his ass. And then you get a buff again, you restand your legend, so you can revive again, and you can just basically do this every turn, and he does not have a way to deal with this. And if he attempts to charm this Sett into his units during his turn, so you cannot have the buff, then you just have to revive it with your legend ability, and they cannot do anything about it. The only games I've lost playing around Discord in the matchup is when I got double charmed. And then I lost the game basically instantly because I was not able to draw another of this orange Sett. Other than that, I think this deck is really, really, really good if played correctly, which is hard, which is very hard. I would say I'm a very good Ahri player, at least compared to the field as of now. I would not say I'm a very good Sett player. I've not played enough game. It's very hard to understand and comprehend the way the deck works, because you have to calculate about like, okay, I can burn this power, but then if I draw this and next turn I want to play this, I might be fucked, so I have to let my unit go. But if I let my unit go, whatever happens, am I able to take the board again? So it's very intricate in the ways you have to think about the plays, but it's very interesting. And I think Sett has a shot as one of the best legends in Sett 1 Origins. So I think Sett is very good, and we should see him being played a lot more in the upcoming future. And then there are the 3 Proving Grounds legends that are not Master Yi. So supposedly, for those who don't know, supposedly Proving Ground cards were meant to be trash. Riot confirmed it themselves. I had the privilege to go to an early summit to talk about Riftbound for retailers, and one of the main worries of retailers was, wait, cards in Proving Grounds will be exclusive? This is not good for our communities. And the answer from the organization that was holding the meeting was, yeah, but don't worry guys, Proving Ground cards will be trash. Well, I don't think they're trash. I strongly disagree with that. I think Master Yi is very good. I think Annie and Lux have at least some decent potential, and I think Garen is dog water, but that's like 1 out of 4, so whatever. But as of now, with what we have in the game currently, yeah, Ahri, Lux, and Garen are a bit below average, under other legends in terms of what's strong. And I really do think that they could be great at some point, at least for Ahri and Lux, but that's not the case right now. So Ahri shares the combo color of Jinx, and she kind of shares the same problems with her, which are purple, first of all. Then you kind of have to end up becoming a monoblast red deck, and the best deck, or one of the best decks in the format, does that perfectly, and you do it worse. So you kinda can't reach your full potential. Lux, on the other hand, is rather interesting, but not good as of now. So Lux says, whenever you play a spell that costs 5 or more mana, you draw a card. This girl, has the potential to become the best control deck we've ever seen in the game, but she needs way more spells that cost 5 or more, because as of now, you kinda need to play every spell that costs 5 or more in the game to make her effect worth it, and they're not all good. Also, there's a big problem with the Lux card, which are her champions. Yellow Lux is a fairly decent card, but so low stats, so it's kind of hard to make it work properly. So basically, you can tap it to generate 2 free mana to play spell. Really good effect, no problems with that. But since Blast is such an important part of the metagame, the way that your opponent is able or not to reach cards in your base, most decks will play one, if not several ways to do so. And when you have 2 might, you die from almost anything. And that's a big problem for this card, because it will be better as long as it stays on the board. First turn you play it, it's 4 power, 4 energy, for 2 might. It's shit stat line. But then it restands, and you can tap it to generate 2 mana. Then you kinda, in a way, get a discount on your cost. You paid 4, but they refund you 2. So it's 2/2. It's not great. It's decent. It's the normal rate for a card in the game as of now. 1 power one mana equals 1 might. That's basically the standard rate as of now. And then another turn later, you can use its effect again, and then you get another refund of 2 mana, and then it goes to you. You used 0 quote-unquote mana to play a 2 might unit, and it kinda gets decent, and the longer the game goes on, the better this card becomes. But it takes like 3 turns to just be worth it, and that's way too much. If this card had something like, I can never attack or move from base, but I enter ready, then it would probably be decent. Because like you drop it for 4, it's ready, then you can just use its effect instantly to play a free spell, and then next turn it's worth it. And it's fine. You have what you wanted with this card, you made it worth it. But it's way too slow. Let's say it's a proving ground card, so it's below average in terms of power. It works as they intended it to, so it's fine. That's what I'd say if I was to talk about the power level of this card. But it's not like really good. So yeah, I think Lux has some potential, and at some point later on in the game, Lux might become a very good deck. We'll see what spells they decide to release with like 5 power, 5 cost or more. And then the last guy in the trash bin is Garen. So Garen says whenever you concur with 4 or more units, you get to draw 2 cards. As you know already, draw power is very important in TCGs. But this is way too hard of a condition to be met to be working properly. Furthermore, it has the same color combination as Sett does, which is orange-yellow. But Sett is very strong, so Garen would have to be very strong too to still play, and he's not. So it's shit. Yeah, drawing 2 is good, but like having 4+ unit is way too hard. You kinda have to build a deck in the way that you will play a lot of cards that generate tokens, and then send all your tokens all together to try and draw like 2 cards once a game. and it's not even good enough. Maybe if someday a legend that says when you conquer discard 1 draw 1 or something like that is released, it will probably be good because drawing in Riftbound is something that is very limited as of now. But the condition of Garen is just way too hard to meet, and I don't think this card will see any play anytime because it's way too below average in terms of power. So that's about it for these legends, this legend tier list. Once again, keep in mind that I've talked, I don't know if I'd say more, but I've talked as much about potential as current power in the metagame. I've tried to give you context and stuff. Do you guys have any questions? If you do have on YouTube, feel free to let me know in the comments. I'll try to answer them. Don't worry about leaving long comments. I'm used to it. I like it. I want to not only know what you think, but why you think that way. So feel free to ask about anything you want in the comments, and I'll try to reply. I think this is my current metagame tier list. If I were to pick 1 or 2 personal opinions on cards, like unpopular opinions, I would say Ahri is way stronger than what people think it is right now. It's just not built correctly and it's very hard to play. And I would say Darius is very overhyped right now and people think it's like very insanely good. And I strongly disagree.